and the left is losing it. I mean, the libs right now, they're so triggered. They're so hugely triggered. You got Kash Patel going into the FBI. You got Mitch McConnell leaving. And you got Donald Trump trolling, like epically trolling them. This is the White House tweet from yesterday saying, congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king. And then he's got a little picture that he drew that's supposed to look, I guess, maybe a little like Time magazine. And there's a crown on his head with long live the king. So they're freaking out. So congestion pricing, if you've been following this was the idea that somehow if you're going to be going into midtown Manhattan, you have to pay a surplus. And there are a lot of people who felt that that would be really, really bad for business. You get the Commerce Clause that kind of would govern whether or not you should be charging trucks, et cetera, that are going into lower Manhattan or midtown Manhattan an extra surplus. And so he's exercising his right there in the federal sense to say, hey, you know what? Commerce Clause, I can actually kill this thing. But then he tweets this out, and they just freaking lose it, you guys. Okay, so this is Kathy Hochul. She is the governor of New York. Hear her response. I knew this was coming. I saw this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know he's being funny. I know he's trolling them. They're going to lose it. And they freaking lost it.
President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we sure as hell are not going to start now. We stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will, in case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down, not now, not ever.
I told you she was triggered, right? I mean, at least she knows her history a little bit. I mean, I can't say that about everybody on the left right now. So yeah, at one point, Revolutionary War, think about it. But this is in part, like you think about what's happening right now, we actually are trying to get back to our roots. We're trying to get back to a smaller, downsized government. And look, when it comes to the federal government, what are they going to have power over? You can't just have this random taxation going through New York. I think it gets back to the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause, which actually I just happen to have right here in front of me. I mean, you think about it, it gives the U.S. Congress the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among several states and with Indian tribes. And this is the Commerce Clause that they use over and over again to help provide the federal government with powers. And of course, Ms. Hochul there, the governor of New York, well, she's kind of picked the wrong fight, if you would. Really and truly the wrong fight. And so he's gonna do what he's gonna do on that. I mean, she got that one all wrong. I think they tried to put it in advance of him coming in hopes that somehow that would save them. But I wanted to show you something else. This is from my shorts feed, guys, because I put this out. At least she knows her history. Not all of these libs, of course, do, including this guy. You know Al Sharpton, right? He's the one that got $500,000 sent to his charity right before he interviewed Kamala Harris on MSNBC. Well, he might want to go back and study a little American colonial history.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Wrong one. We'll try this again because this is just hysterical. I have to show you. By the way, do you hear my voice, which is like sounding a little like Kathleen Turner or something today? So much for my balance in nature. I love my balance in nature. I actually doubled up on it today. That's how I'm on the air. But anyway, I told you, I know I was too smug. I was like, oh, I haven't gotten a cold all year long. It's been fantastic. No cold. Well, sure enough, everyone in my family's had one. Sure enough, you can hear it. You can hear it today.
One day, our children's children will read American history. And can you imagine our reading that James Madison or Thomas Jefferson tried to overthrow the government so they could stay in power? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at American history.
You can't make it up. No, you can't. So anyway, Kathy's saying we are not going to be ruled by a king. She's taking this sort of out of context. Donald Trump having way too much fun with this. And, I'll tell you, The reality is, no matter how much they push back on them, they are so deeply in the wrong. As a judge just decided the other day, I mean, Letitia, you know Letitia, right? And don't get me started, because we'll wind up spending 2 hours on it. And I encourage you to look at all my stuff on Letitia on this channel, because I am so disgusted with New York and with her for what they did to him. Really, really awful stuff. But here she is trying to capitalize on the moment, saying, Elon Musk can't do this. Elon Musk can't look inside our government coffers and figure out whether this thing is running efficiently or not. We didn't elect him.
No one elected Elon Musk and his minions, and no one has allowed him to have access to this information. This is a violation of the separation of powers. The United States Congress, the United States Senate, has the sole discretion in having the power of the purse, and not Elon Musk. We are here today to seek a preliminary injunction to stand up against those forces who believe that they can unilaterally have power and have control, all in the hands of the President of these United States.
Well, the judge didn't really agree with you on that, Letitia. No. Judge Chunkin, who, by the way, is Democrat appointee. She rejected that call from Democrat AGs for that temporary restraining order. It would have blocked Dodge's access to federal data. So New York is having a hard time. But, you know, New Yorkers like Letitia are out there trying to fight for things that really don't resonate. I mean, maybe they resonate in Manhattan. I don't know, but I'm telling you, through the rest of the state, they got nothing. Here's the New Yorker magazine. This crossed my inbox last night, and I had to show you this, because they're flipping out because they can't pay for the trans kid operations anymore because the federal funds are gone. You see, Donald Trump got rid of those federal funds. And so this means that hospital systems, quote, that received federal funds immediately began to call off care, even though the order goes against the guidance of long-established medical authorities on treatment protocols for trans kids. In New York, which was supposed to be a safe harbor state, safe haven state, NYU Langone Health and Mount Sinai canceled surgeries. Mind you, these are surgeries on kids that believe they're transgender, and they're like 12 years old. I mean, we don't let kids drink. We don't let kids smoke. We don't let kids vape. Like, why would we allow kids to go and get these operations? And then why are they flipping out about this? I mean, of all the things that you guys are going to freak out about, this is where you're heading. And this is why I'm just saying, like, they have completely lost the story. I mean, when you have people trying to side with, okay, well, the 12 or 13-year-old needs that genital it's a mutilation, right? I mean, that's certainly what it is, if you ask me. And we've spoken to somebody who will never be able to breastfeed a child because a hospital did this to her, and she's now suing. Anyway, it's a problem. I'm telling you, and this is where Letitia's heading.
Regardless of the availability of federal funding, we write to further remind you of your obligation to comply with New York state law. So it sounds like she's picking and choosing which federal laws to comply with here. What do you think about this, Riley?
Yeah, I think your analysis is correct. When you have an attorney general tell her entire state to not comply with federal law, she is no longer acting as an attorney general. Let's call it what it is. She is an activist at that point, which I don't think this comes as a surprise, considering how she treated President Trump and other issues, of course, over her tenure. But this just shows me that November 5th taught the Democratic Party nothing. The majority of Americans wholeheartedly do not support the gender transitioning of minors. That was made very, very clear at the ballot box. So to continue on with this messaging, to continue to quite honestly, in this case, violate federal law, I believe it shows either their ignorance, maybe their apathy, maybe fighting for a system that rewards those who move to tear it down. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's clear nonetheless that November 5th taught the Democratic Party nothing.
So they just can't seem to learn. But that's fine, because you know what that means, guys? We'll stay in power for a lot of years. We're going to continue to stay in power. We got to get to Kash Patel because this is amazing. And I'm telling you, the media is freaking out. And Adam Schiff is freaking out. But again, if you can hear it in my voice, like I had to come on today because it was just such an important day. And I do still take my balance in nature, but I knew I was pushing my luck. I think I just told you the other day, I hadn't been sick at all this year and I always get sick and I always get sick. My kids are always sick. Well, sure enough, I got a little bit sick. So, as long as you're okay with the throaty sounding Trish Regan, we'll make do with it. But balance in nature is still what I take, and I did double up on it today in hopes that it might help a little bit. It's my fruits and veggies that I take, and they're a sponsor of this show, and we love them for that. You can get 35% off with Balance in Nature right now. If you go to balanceinnature.com, you use my code word Trish, my name, TRISH. And by the way, you can call them at 1-800-246-8751, 1-800-246-8751. Balance of Nature. Listen, it's done me really well so far, and I doubled up today.